The vets ultimately, like, they have this thing tied down, and I think there's a very good buy-in with all of our transfers, me included, on what we're trying to get done here this year.
And just really excited to get out there with our guys. They've been putting in a tremendous amount of work, and it's all about individual player development. And everyone's personal best is a little bit different, and little by little becomes a lot.
This is where they're at their best, when they're able to teach in the classroom and then take it out to the field and really find the DNA, the identity of this football team.
Welcome into the Inside WSU Athletics podcast presented by BECU. Thanks so much for joining us today. We have an episode where we'll be talking a lot of Cougar football. Can't wait to have all of our guests, Kaden Pinnick, Kirby Moore, and Brad Larrondo all stopping by on this week's episode. Can't wait to get a full preview of spring ball for Cougar football. And with that, we bring in, as we always do, Jon Haarlow. Jon, we got Cougar football to talk about, but also I know as we speak here today, you're pretty fresh from coming back from Seattle. It was a great night, the night with Cougar Athletics. How did everything go with the event?
Yeah, good to see you, Chris. Excited to be back. It's always a big week when spring football gets launched. There's excitement, there's buzz, there's some sunshine out here too, which is pretty exciting. We got back late Saturday night post event again on that midnight flight back into Pullman that we talk about so often on this podcast. But the event was a really fun night. So thankful for the Coug faithfuls that come out and support. We had some of the notable guests. President Cantwell was there, obviously, which we're tremendously thankful for her support, continued support. Several regents were there. Super Bowl champion Abe Lucas in the house. Several former football players, and then some of the I don't want to call them the regulars because I mean that in the most positive way. But some of our stakeholders and our fans that just continue to show up and embrace what we're doing and embrace the Cougs. It was awesome. The venue that we had there, Victory Hall at the Box Yard, was awesome. You're right there in the heart of the sports district down there in Seattle, across from T-Mobile, near Lumen. So we're right where we're supposed to be in the sports-centric part of the city. So thankful for the team and what they did. Again, I got to shout out Brandy and Dana and Taylor with the CAF, all the planning, not just for that event, but then the other two stops that we still have to come. And then the execution of the event. Great energy. I thought we had, again, really good representation from our coaches. We try and get as much representation out there as we can. We had some assistance from men's basketball. We had Coach Etheridge there. We had Coach Larivier. Obviously, several football staff. Coach Schroeder was there from volleyball. Several student athletes as well. Those that were willing to sacrifice a couple of days of their spring break rather than, taking some time away. So we're grateful for that. And then we always try and get some unique football experiences that you couldn't get elsewhere or couldn't buy elsewhere available there during the live auction. And so some cool experiences there, some cool items on the silent auction. Still tallying the numbers. It was a very positive evening, though, I will say that. And we still have 2 to go. So we still have the Prosser stop and the Spokane stop. So we're revved up. That was super fun. Good to high five, good to hug some people. Say go Cougs among those that we always get to do. The energy was good. So if that's a good indicator of where we sit as Coug Nation right now, we're in a pretty good spot.
Well, that Prosser event will be here before we know it on Friday, April 17th. So more excitement to come. And kind of on that note, Jon, spring break is over. We were talking last week about how, it's a little quieter than normal on campus. Well, the buzz is back. The weather has been great. And there's a lot to do over these upcoming next few months.
It is. Start spring football practice on Thursday here in Pullman. Those are open practices. Coaches continue to say, get here if you want to be around the action, see what the guys are up to. And then we head to Tri-Cities on Saturday for practice down there and a kids clinic too, which is going to be phenomenal. I believe we're talking about that later on the pod here with some of our guests, but still pushing football season tickets. Those are live. Renewals are active. New season tickets are out there. We've got to get some butts in seats at Giesa Field here this fall. That's how we're going to be able to really gauge where we're at. You can feel the energy on the road, and we can hear it in the feedback. But we're ready to see Giesa Field roaring come the fall. Nice to have some energy on end of March here and still some time to improve on that. But ticket sales are out there. We've got to continue to drive that home.
Speaking of energy, as we recap what has happened and what's to come within the last week and in these upcoming days, it was so great to be out at Bailey-Brayton Field this last weekend. It was the home opening series for baseball. They had their first 19 games of the season on the road, and what a way to start the home portion of the schedule. Returning home, getting a sweep over Grand Canyon. So this week, they will be right back at home taking on Nevada. So another great opportunity to come out and cheer on the team at Bailey-Brayton Field Friday, Saturday, Sunday. For track, sophomore Rosemary Longisa. She traveled to Poland last week for the World Indoor Championships. She just missed out on qualifying for the final of the 800-meter track. They're going to be in action next April 2nd through the 4th in the Bay Area. In swimming, their season came to a close this last weekend at the NCAA Championships. Emily Lundgren closed out her Cougar career, and what a decorated Cougar career it has been as a 4-time All-American in school history after earning the first 4-time All-American in school history after earning second team honors in the 200 breast. Sophomore Darcy Rivet capped her NCAA championships by earning second team All-America honors in the 100 free. For tennis, they hosted 2 matches, sweeping both Eastern Washington and Loyola Marymount. This week, they'll head to the Bay Area to face St. Mary's Saturday and Pacific on Sunday. Women's golf, not in action this last weekend. They'll play this week at the Silicon Valley Showcase in California. That's March 29th through the 31st. Men's golf also not in action. They will be back at it coming up at the Goodwin at Stanford, March 26th through the 28th. And rowing starts this weekend. That is down at the San Diego Crew Classic, March 28th through the 29th. So another week and a lot to get caught up on.
You nailed it there, Chris. There's so much stuff going on. Baseball, again, to open up with 19 straight on the road, that's a tall task. Build some toughness there, but to get home and then open up with 3 with a sweep here at home, it doesn't matter. But it is hard to win games at a consistent level like that, and to do it like they did. You saw offense, you saw defense, you saw some consistent arms, which really proud of that group. And we got some big ones coming up as well. You mentioned again with swimming, Emily and Darcy, the results there, and Emily now to be a 4-time All-American. That's incredible. Darcy to be named to the All-American list too. First time in program history that we've had 2 All-Americans for our swim program. That's a big freaking deal. And I'm proud of that group. It's amazing. And again, tennis stacked 2 more wins. Again, pretty proud of what that group has done so far this season. I know Coach Olivier is excited to get on the water. They're at Mission Bay. Not a bad place to go for a competition coming up there, but Cougs in action all over the country, and proud of what they're doing. And they continue to stack results, which is amazing.
And coming up, we will talk Cougar football. We'll stick with kind of the baseball talk. Here's the batting order. Kaden Pinnick, Kirby Moore, Brad Larrondo leading off. It's Kaden Pinnick right after this word from our sponsor, BECU.
How do you spot a Coug in the wild? Head to toe crimson, gray, and, well, anything except purple? A simple "Go Cougs" at an airport halfway around the globe? Or maybe just a little pride from BECU and some extra money in your pocket when you pay for your tacos. Get the card Cougs everywhere recognize. Join today. BECU. Go Cougs.
Well, we are excited to welcome in someone I know Coug fans everywhere are fired up, John, to have him here on the Palouse.
Yeah, excited for this one. We've got new WSU quarterback, Caden Pinnick. Caden, good to see you, my man. How are things?
Everything's going well, guys. Everything's going well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you and I got a chance to catch up. Well, we've caught up a handful of times, but one time in particular, we were chatting at a women's basketball game, and I asked how the transition was going. You said, it's cold. You're getting used to the cold.
Yeah.
So how's the transition been? Has it changed at all since then? How's the transition been going?
If not, it's gotten smoother since the time we connected. Definitely got a little bit more jackets in my closet. But yeah, I got to experience my kind of first heavy snowfall and, navigating through that. But, all that's in the past, and now we're getting ready to move on to spring ball.
Caden, what has surprised you most about your time here so far as a Coug?
I would say how close the community is. I heard it was a pretty like small town, but I never like until I really got to experience it. Like everyone knows everyone here, and it's very much like a very warm feeling. Like so, it's like a big family. So yeah, that I would say that.
Well, you gave us a little taste of what your answer might be to this question, but I'm curious for someone coming from Northern California, what did you know? How much did you know about Washington State before arriving?
Sure, yeah. I did my homework in, small town, football school. Everyone's kind of, into football. And so that's like coming from like a smaller school is just like I know what the feeling of a community feels like. And yeah, so after I got in and took my visit, we were able to kind of see, Birch and Barley. We went down to there and see some of the housing. I was like, okay, I can get used to this. Yeah.
That's a great response. So talk about team chemistry a little bit. I'm obviously not a member of the team, but I've had an opportunity to see some Finisher Friday workouts, some of your other group discussion. It seems like the team is in a pretty good spot for blending 38 new faces. How is the chemistry with the group?
No doubt, man. You hit it on the spot. I mean, the vets ultimately like they have this thing tied down, and I think there's a very good buy-in with all of our transfers, me included, on what we're trying to get done here this year. And I think it's just brought everybody together closer because it's like we know what the goal is and we know what it takes. And especially with the help of Coach Hardman and our strength and conditioning staff, I mean, they got us in the right track. And Coach Moore's meetings that we always have and his daily messages has just been gold. So I think our chemistry right now for the amount of new faces we have is out of this world, man.
We're going to talk with Kirby Moore coming up here shortly. What impressed you most about Coach Moore and the entire staff during the recruiting process?
I think his confidence really spoke out to me. And what I mean by that, like he wasn't very, loud that he is the head coach. He was just like, he was very, very nice. He introduced himself. And I was like, okay, I like this. Like he carries himself with some high humbleness. And, he was very nice to my mom. Of course, that always hits it off. You got that checks off the first box.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the coaching staff, like Coach Miller, coming from a previous school, it was kind of the same offense, just a little bit more taste on it. So I was automatically kind of more comfortable in that. And then just all the other coaches on the staff, I mean, they brought me in with warm embrace, and they didn't see me for nothing else. They saw me as me, not just a football player, and that spoke levels to me.
That's really neat, really awesome to hear. You guys have been in the lab, watching film, in the weight room. You've been doing installs. You finally get to strap on the helmet and get after it with spring practice this week. What are you most excited about there?
The helmet's part, like, man, just putting that helmet on is some different type of feeling, especially being out there with all the boys. Like, not a lot of people understand the hype about spring ball until you're like actually in it. And because I mean, right, you're working up all this way just to start again. And I don't know, it's addicting, man. It's like once you put that helmet on and you put the pads on and you get hidden and you hear the pads hitting each other, it's just something else. And I'm ready for it, ready to spin the ball and be with the guys.
You've only been in Pullman for a few months, but I imagine you're just kind of scratching the surface on what it means to be a Coug and the pride that comes with being a Coug and the amount of times you've heard "Go Cougs." But what has your impression been so far of Cougar fans?
Fantastic. I'll actually tell you a quick story. So on my way to the airport, I'm getting through security, and there's a group of like, I think a couple of college students, a couple of parents. They're walking by, and through the glass, you could just hear them yell, "Go Cougs." And it caught me off guard a little because I'm like, oh, like they're for real about this. So, I gave them the good old "Go Cougs." And so, I mean, like just from experiencing that and just people around the town, when they say "Go Cougs" and after they leave and be like, "Hey, go Cougs," I'm like, okay, this town is serious about it. And I love it, man.
It's a real thing. I mean, the local support, the national support, the brand is international at this point. So pretty cool to hear that you've experienced that at this early stage already. Rumor has it, Caden, you're a bit of a piano player, quite the piano player, I should say.
Yeah.
So how long have you been playing that?
Let's see. About 15 years now, I would say. But in the last year, I kind of took a break on it just because I didn't have a piano with me in Davis. But I am getting one here pretty soon because I just started picking it back up at home. I was like, man, I missed this. So about to get it coming soon. That way, just in my downtime, man, I can get back to what I love to do.
How did you get into the piano? Just out of curiosity.
My mom, she's very intelligent. So from an early age, she was looking up all the benefits of it, and all the correlations it had with sports. And so, of course, at first, it's not a cool thing to do as a young kid. And most kids just want to play sports or, watch you and play games. So I fought at first, but, I started to buy into it the more mature I got and really realized like what it's helped me to do. And it's just a cool stress reliever as well. Whenever I'm, back against the wall, not really focusing, I just hop on, no problem, and then just play.
That's awesome.
What do you have a favorite piece to play on the piano?
Yeah, Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven. Yeah, that's my go-to.
So we need to when we're traveling now, we need to look at hotels that only have pianos in the lobby area, so Caden can hop on there and tickle the ivory a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that'd be smooth. Whatever helps. I'm a pretty peaceful guy, so I'm gonna find a way to relax anywhere I can.
Caden, we appreciate the time today. A great conversation here, and just thrilled for you and your teammates to get spring ball started this week. Thanks again for joining us.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Well, we will
Thanks,
keep
Caden.
the theme going here. Coming up next, we will be chatting with Kirby Moore.
How do you spot a Coug in the wild? Head to toe crimson, gray, and, well, anything except purple? A simple go Cougs at an airport halfway around the globe? Or maybe just a little pride from BECU and some extra money in your pocket when you pay for your tacos. Get the card Cougs everywhere recognize. Join today. BECU. Go Cougs.
Well, our next guest, someone who needs no introduction, but we'll intro him anyways. Kirby Moore joining us here. Coach, it is great to chat with you. We appreciate the time. Let's dive right into things. You and the team got away last week for spring break. Were you able to get some downtime?
Oh, yeah. No, it was a great spring break. I think for everyone to take a deep breath, some guys to see their family. For us, guaranteed the kids for Christmas, they were going to Disneyland or Disney World. So we attacked Disneyland there in California. My daughter was 3 last time we went, and it didn't go very well. So now she's 6, and she was a champ and was riding all the rides. And I was the one who honestly was a little bit more scared on a couple of those.
That is good stuff. That is a great way to spend spring break. And, looking back, Coach, since you were hired, you've been able to get around the state and the West Coast, including Disneyland, to get to know Coug fans and alums. Do you feel that the excitement that is surrounding Cougar football?
Yeah, a ton of excitement, a ton of energy, support, whether we've been in the Tri-Cities, been in Spokane, had the Cougar Night in Athletics in Seattle on Saturday. Saw a number of great Cougs and really just appreciate everyone's support because that was a huge part of us retaining the roster in terms of the additions and even being in the Pullman community. And our guys would be having breakfast at Old European and it would be go Cougs, right? Where you're from, wanting to support. And so everyone's felt that, myself included.
Coach, the team's been in winter conditioning the last 8 weeks or so. Shout out to Coach Hardman and everything that's going on there. Gotten to witness some finisher Fridays, and those are some pretty big time days. Yeah. How's that winter conditioning period gone?
They attacked it. Coach Hardman definitely brought it, him and his staff, Coach Clark, Coach Skip. And I think our guys just answered the bell every time in terms of there was a strength phase and then there was the 4-quarter agility phase. Obviously had competitions in terms of offense, defense, had a huge tug of war. And then we challenged them. Right last Friday in terms of we had a shuttle competition and we had to do 6 perfect, right? And if we didn't get it right on rep 5, you went back to rep 1. And so just having that focus consistently, right? Each rep being its own. And our guys did a great job finishing there last Friday.
You finally get to see the field this week. Spring ball is here. What are you most excited about?
This is what you sign up for, and just really excited to get out there with our guys. They've been putting in a tremendous amount of work, and it's all about individual player development. And everyone's personal best is a little bit different, and little by little becomes a lot. And so it's about that consistent improvement each day. And really excited for our coaches to get on the field with our players in terms of practice one. This is where we're at, and just that improvement, that teaching progression throughout the spring. We're going to develop a foundation on offense, defense, and special teams. And it comes back to having a this play mindset, right? We're going to have a ton of situational football, and every play has a life of its own. And guy makes a play on you, hey, next play, we got to respond, right? And it's about this play. Can't wait to get out there with our guys.
When just the average person thinks about spring, they probably think about birds chirping and sun, longer days. But I have to think that spring means something very, very different to you, and certainly spring versus fall. What most excites you about the spring?
Seeing the growth, right, with where guys were even last season, right, who are coming back, and guys who are coming from different places. And obviously we're gelling a team within that, right, with the 57 guys coming back, the little above 35 guys transferring in, and seeing how they respond to adversity, right? There's going to be times during spring ball where it's going really well for the offense, or it's not going really well. And how do we respond? How does that leadership develop? And you've seen guys show up even in the winter workouts, right? Jack Peterson, who transferred in from UCLA, had a great, in terms of, you talk about message to our team from a leadership standpoint and how we got to take the next step.
I literally just mentioned that speech to a group this morning. I right before you hopped on here, because I got to witness that and I had goosebumps walking out of there. It means something to that group, and that leadership that's already on display, and the chemistry there is it's noticeable.
100%, John. And that's something that we're going to continuously work on, right? We developed a leadership council, and it is around 18 to 20 guys. And those guys haven't been on any list in terms of academics. They've showed up on time and been attacking every workout. And so there's guys within different position groups, and that's going to be, a group that we want to make sure they have a voice, as well as the messaging in terms of being consistent from the players, coaches to the team.
No, it's really good. With so many new players, and obviously you're a new staff, new install, a lot of newness. How does the new players in that change your approach to spring for this spring versus if you had some returners in a future year?
Yeah, I think everything's pretty fresh, right? Everything's new in terms of, there's been transitions from terminology previous, right, on offense and defense and special teams. And, we've been having meetings and walkthroughs, and now it's about doing it in terms of competition, right? The offense going against the defense, and having moving pieces for the quarterback, making sure, right, their eyes and their feet, they can control those every play. And there's going to be some good, and then there's definitely going to be some learning moments. And really excited again, just because as coaches, we're teachers first. And so you're going to see some things apply really quick, and then there's going to be some things we got to work through.
What is your goal for the Crimson and Gray game? It's going to be here before we know it. Do you plan to split the team or go offense versus defense?
Yeah, we're working through that right now. I would love to split the team in terms of, we got to see where the numbers are at, right, when we get close there on the 25th. Definitely want to have a first, second, third quarter, fourth quarter. I think the first and second quarter, we'll try and keep that as real as possible. And then the third and fourth quarter, right, potentially having a running clock there. Want to have as much, right, in terms of alumni getting back. Obviously, Friday night, we're going to have the Gridiron Social and get those guys around our players. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity for our guys to obviously compete within Giesa Field.
You mentioned alumni, and I know you're making a big-time effort to encourage former players to get involved with the program. Why is that so critical?
It's their program. They've developed the tradition and the long-standing culture here at Washington State. It's my job as the head coach, right, to steer that culture in a specific direction right now. But they have built that year after year, and want to make sure that it is an open door policy. If they want to come sit in meetings, if they want to come out to practice, that is open for them.
Very well said. And Coach, once you get through the spring period here and you look back, what do you think are the most important things that you're looking for to come out of the spring practice period?
Yeah, guys, personal best to grow for sure. Where they were at practice 1 to the spring game, that's got to improve. And then hopefully on offense, defense, special teams, we have a little bit of a, hey, this is where we're at, right? This is what guys are really good at. These are areas we can grow. You might, in terms of certain schematics, all right, hey, this feels like this is going to be something that we got to dive even deeper into as we progress into the fall, because it's about the players, right? Offensively, there's going to be things maybe on the first couple of days of install that we might not be majoring in the fall, right? But there's got to be that initial install. It's about the players playing fast, making sure they're comfortable and confident, because they got to make the plays out here on the field.
Coach, great stuff. We always appreciate the time. Thanks so much for spending a few minutes with us here.
Thank you, guys. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Well, we'll keep the football theme rolling. Up next, we'll chat with Brad Larrondo. Well, our theme continues, talking Cougar football. Jon, I'll hand it off to you. Can you tell us who we have joining us now?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Excited about this one as well. We have Brad Larrondo, Executive Senior Associate Athletic Director and GM for football. Brad, thanks for joining us today, man.
Oh, absolutely, Jon. Glad to be on here, and good to be with you and Chris.
You've been going nonstop since what would be mid-December now. Did you ever think that this day, as we approach spring practice, was going to get here?
Man, I tell you what, I mean, it was hot and heavy there for the first, month or so, and, trying to get this roster put together, get to know everybody, get through the transfer portal. But yeah, the time is now. We get to start spring ball and see what the fruits of the labor were, from retention to recruiting, and get out on the field. And actually, it's going to be awesome for our coaching staff, because, this is where they have the most fun. This is where they're at their best, when they're able to teach in the classroom and then take it out to the field and really find the DNA, the identity of this football team, which I think is one of the key things about spring ball. Is let's go in there and let's figure out what this is all about. Let's find out the strengths of this team, and let's let these guys cut it loose. I mean, the players have been working hard in the weight room. They've been conditioning. You've seen them in the weight room, Jon. You've seen them in the indoor. Now they want to get a little football going. They want to get some scheme, and they want to go. Football is such a great game because it's one-on-one, it's man-on-man, and they get a chance to do some of that now, which is going to be fun to watch.
Well, it was great to see all the buzz around the player retention, what the staff was able to do in the offseason. So when you and the staff comes in, there was a lot of areas to potentially fill. How do you feel it went addressing all those areas of need?
Well, I think first and foremost, no matter if you're a new staff, a current staff, a team that finished in the top 25, a team that maybe didn't have the season you wanted, you're always focused on retention. And I really feel like it's a relationship game still. You can talk about the business side of it and transactions, but if you don't establish a relationship with your players first and foremost, you're going to have a lot of trouble retaining them. And I think that was the key, with Coach Moore. From the time he got hired, he was setting up those player meetings. There were 7 or 8 of us down at the bowl game in Boise, around the parents, around the players. And for us to retain 57 players, I mean, most teams, you're trying to get 60 to 65% of your eligible roster for the next year back. And that's if you have a really good season. We were able to do that, coming off of a coaching change, which I think is a tribute to what our leadership, from President Cantwell to Jon, on being able to give us some resources to play with to make that happen, but also just on the relationship part of it. And then going into it, you got to fill some holes. Defensively, we had to go in there. We had to rebuild along the defensive line and the defensive secondary, got hit with some graduation. And then we had some guys that left the program. We made it awfully hard on some of those guys to choose to go elsewhere. And we were very close on keeping some of them. But at the end of the day, we can't worry about those that aren't here. We got to then bring in the ones that can help us. And I thought we did a really nice job on the front lines. Offensive line retaining top 6 O-linemen, 5 of them who had starting experience. And then on the D-line, going and getting, a really, really good all-conference FCS player and 2 guys at DN that have FBS Power 4 experience. And then you're bringing in 6 defensive tackles to kind of load up front. You got to be able to run the ball. You got to stop the run. And I think we were able to do that in the portal and with retention.
Well, with spring ball just about to get going here, I want to know, what do you like most about this team?
Well, I mean, I just think you've got some guys that seem like they've bonded together. Our strength and conditioning coach, Malcolm Hardman, you guys got to get him on at some point or another. I mean, he's got a little, MMA, UFC background to him, and he was at Auburn. When I was there, he was kind of on his way to Missouri when I went to Auburn, and then obviously I got to spend some time with him at Missouri with Coach Moore. But his style, what he brings to the table, and what that strength and conditioning with his staff and what he did to really push these guys hard every single day from middle of January up until last week. I think the guys bonded because they had to come together to almost be like, okay, we got to show this guy we're for real. I mean, he's punishing us. He's getting after us. This is hard stuff, but we got to come together to attack it. And I think you saw that, in workouts, in the weight room, that this team, became closer because of that. And now we get a chance to see how that, plays out onto spring ball. So I do like, the fact that you got 57 returners and then you got to incorporate them with 35 to 38 new guys. How do you see them come together? And I like what's happened on that at this point. I think we got good skill players. I think we did a good job up front. And now it's kind of saying, okay, what do those pieces look like once we get on the field and the coaches are out there and be able to work fundamentals and work scheme with them?
This has nothing to do with my question, but we've heard a couple with all three guests. We've heard chemistry and Coach Hardman's program and the impact of both of those things. Those are telling, and the fact that all three of our guests have now highlighted that there's some consistency there, which means I think it's true. Pretty awesome to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all starts with down there on that. Well, it's the second floor in our football center, but we call it like the first floor, the lower level. That's where it gets going, especially when you bring your team together, because your strength coaches are going to spend the most time with them leading up to spring ball, and then they're going to have them again during the summer. And I think the players have bought in to the values, the philosophy, and the different techniques that are being used to push these guys to be their personal best. That's the bottom line. Every single day, if you come in with a spectacular attitude and a relentless effort, and you want to get better and you can try to achieve your personal best, whether it's in the weight room, whether it's the film room, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's out on the field, whether it's as a son, as a boyfriend, whatever it is, we just kind of talk about, hey, bring that attitude, that spectacular attitude, and bring that relentless effort and give us all you got. And if you do that, I think you'll figure out that you got a chance to be very successful. And I think our guys have done that the last 2 months. So you really hats off to Coach Hardman for what he's done, the training room, the nutrition staff for really getting these guys ready for what I think will be an exciting spring ball. And hey, the weather's coming around, so we can get some outside practices as well. So I think it's going to be nice.
It's hard to listen to this and not get fired up and ready to go, right? It's pretty awesome to hear, and absolutely the right approach too. Coach Moore and the staff have really made a significant, a concerted effort to connect with the public, with our fans and stakeholders, particularly in the state. But we've even gone beyond the state a handful of times, but certainly around the state of Washington. A couple of opportunities to see the team around the state and some clinics. You mind talking through some of those opportunities?
Yeah, and I think it's really big that we meet fans where they are. We obviously know that we've got some really, really strong markets and alumni in the Spokane Valley, and then over in Tri-Cities. I mean, Coach Moore is from Prosser, Washington. He's an Eastern Washington guy. He's a 509 area code, which is exciting and awesome. So we're going to take a couple of these spring practices where those fans are. On March 26th, so this Saturday, the second practice of the spring, we're going to be in Pasco at the local high school there, Edgar Brown Stadium that hosts two of the different high schools in Pasco. And we're going to open the practice up. We want fans to come out, see what this team's all about. I know sometimes practices are a little bit confusing. We'll have somebody on the microphone kind of walking through what's individual drills, team 7-on-7. So it gives fans a little bit of a sneak peek behind the curtain on how a practice works. And then as soon as practice is done around 2:00, we've got a free youth clinic. There's registration that you can sign up through our website at wscougars.com and definitely bring your little ones out. It's K through 8th grade. Our players are going to be running these stations. It's an hour to interact with the players, have some fun, get a few drills, but more than anything, just be around our guys. Feel the passion and energy and what these young men are really all about. Take the helmet off and interact with the kids. So we're doing that in Pasco on the 26th. And then on April 4th, the next week, we'll be in Spokane. We'll be up in northern Spokane, in the Meade School District, there at the stadium there where they play. I think it's Union Stadium Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
Union
correct.
Stadium up there. Again, practice will be at around 11. We'll do the clinic right after it at about 1:30. And we want as many kids and fans to come out for this as possible. We're going to have posters. We're going to have ticket information. We want you to be able to then come to Pullman and see this team in action. But we need to get you excited about it first and foremost by seeing Coach Moore, seeing these guys work, and then letting your kids be around them as well. So make sure you get to Pasco this Saturday, Spokane a week from Saturday on the 4th, and let's have some fun on the football field in those stadiums.
What a great opportunity for the fans and the kids in the Tri-Cities and Spokane coming up. Well, Brad, we asked Coach Moore about this, but I know for the staff that engaging former players has been a big priority. Is there anything planned coming up this spring to encourage those former players to get involved?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that, Chris. The spring game that's happening on April 25th. It'll be here in Pullman. It'll be at Giesa Field. We want to be able to make that a more of a game-like setting. Obviously, we got to get through the practices, see where we're at, but we want to make that entertaining. We want to make sure fans have something to look forward to as a spring game. But we're also tying in what we call the Gridiron Social and Gridiron Weekend. So the Friday night, the night before the spring game on April 24th, we're inviting all former football players. Doesn't matter if you're a member of the Grade W Club. Doesn't matter if you've been back to the stadium one time since you played, or no times, or 100 times. We want to bring all of our former players back. The night before, we're going to have a social inside the football center in the press box at 7:00 that night for all former players. Then we'll have a tailgate the next day before the spring game. We want all of our former guys down on the field and on the sidelines during the spring game. We'll recognize them during the game. I mean, we're right now just kind of the caretakers of the house that they built. And along the way, we may make a tweak or two. We may, remodel it a little bit, whatever it is. But the reason that we're here, the reason that Washington State football is so powerful is because of the blood, sweat, and tears of those that came before and were able to put Washington State, that brand, on the map, do some amazing things. We want to welcome them back. This is your house. Come on back. Get back here for the spring game. Let's start a tradition that way. And then let's continue it through the summer and into the fall of really opening up the doors for our former players, because there is no Washington State football without the guys who built it in the past.
Well said. Well, energizing feels like the word that comes to mind with this conversation. No better way to get kind of a preview for spring ball. Brad, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much. And we're just looking forward to the spring and what the program has in front of it.
All right, Chris, John, really appreciate it. You guys keep up the awesome work. It's actually a tribute. I feel honored to be on the podcast with you all, because I know you guys do a great job on this. And go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Well, big thanks not only to Brad, but to Kirby Moore, Caden Pinnick as well. And a thank you, as always, to our sponsor, BECU. For Jon Haarlow, I'm Chris King. Signing off. That will do it for this week's edition of the Inside WSU Athletics podcast. Go Cougs.